Howdy guys, Kuyo here, and today, just like I've been doing for a long time, I want to continue my kind of rant series. Now, this time around though, I want to talk about something that I feel is very important in the overall story of the Elder Scrolls, and that being the importance of its locales. Specifically, I want to talk about the importance of its biggest locale, and the only place that we've ever really been, Tamriel. And more so, I want to explore what exactly makes Tamriel so special. And I want to understand why it's so special, what exactly it is about Tamriel that makes it the focus of each and every game. And maybe in the process find out what it could potentially lead to in the future with other games, like maybe TES 6. With that said, that's enough conjecturing. So let's get right into the video. Now, to start off this video, like I've done literally my entire YouTube career, this is 100% off the top of my head. That means things may not be as well structured as they could be, but at the same time, they're also a lot more raw, and you can also perhaps get a better feel for what I'm thinking, because I have less of a limit with a script in trying to make things sound elegant. So with that said, and this disclaimer being out of the way, let's talk about what exactly I mean by Tamriel being so special. See, almost every major event in the Elder Scrolls has always involved some form of race, people, or folk trying to come to Tamriel. In the case of perhaps the earliest ever that I can think of was the Wandering Elnathe versus the ones that stayed in Tamriel, and how there's a massive fight between them and trying to enter Tamriel. Another example would be how literally everyone from Akavir ever have constantly tried to come and invade Tamriel. And then there's also the fringe cases of the Slode and the Maelmer. But in general, it seems that people want something from Tamriel. And these countless amounts of invasions, takeovers, and things along those lines clearly show that Tamriel is special. And enough of my kind of leading you guys on. What I think it is perhaps that Tamriel is the core of the Plane of Mundus. Now this is kind of theory territory, but I'll explain. See, ever since the start of the first game arena, we've always known that Tamriel is important. We know that it's the thing that every race came to at the beginning of time, or whenever they ended up coming to Tamriel. And we know that countless wars have been fought over trying to get it. So, what's so important about Tamriel? And the only thing I can think of is that perhaps Tamriel is like the heart of the world, or the heart of the plane of existence. And perhaps as a result, people just having access to it could mean so much, or just a race having access to it, or even Daedra, because the Daedra have done countless amounts of invasions on the mortal plane with no real, understandable goal outside that, they want to rule this plane. But what I think it is that, like I just said a little while ago, Tamriel is the center of everything. And that all has to do with a little bit of a Coda-esque ideal, in which, during the events of Landfall, we realize that all of Mundus, or at least Nirn, is basically a giant clockwork machine. And so, maybe things like the towers are just like little keys inside the giant clockwork machine. And that perhaps the place where all those towers exist, that being Tamriel, is the only place to access the core of that giant machine. Which would explain how Numidium was able to destroy all of Nirn during the events of Landfall. Which, once again, if you want to hear about, you can click right over there in the right-hand corner. That said, I don't want to get so heavy into Coda. But I do want to iterate on the fact that I think Tamriel is very important. And I'll kind of explain the more philosophical reasons to this in just a second. But when it comes to the overall meaning of this importance, I think it lends a great hand to the idea that any race or any people or anything in the Elder Scrolls has the capability of rising. And I think that's what the whole concept of Tamriel is. And it's actually kind of diving into what I wanted to get into later when I said I wanted to talk about the philosophy, but I guess I'll do it right now. And in the process, maybe cover exactly what I mean by the importance of Tamriel. And that being, like I said, that Tamriel is perhaps less of a core or centerpiece physically or metaphysically, and more just a concept or an idea in the minds of all the races and all the peoples, or everyone, in that it's like the place to be, for lack of a better term. It's the place that destinies are changed. It's the thing that is constantly shifting. And I think maybe when the whole concept of Tamriel and its importance was being fleshed out throughout the past 25-ish years, that was a major goal. And that the writers have constantly been trying to show just how important Tamriel is, and just how important the fact that its mere existence is to everything that ever existed. And so, kind of wrapping all of this up and trying to connect all the dots, and in the process summarizing it, Tamriel is a place that we've known is important throughout all of Elder Scrolls history. That, of course, being that every game takes place in it, which there are limitations as to why that's the case. But I think on top of that, just in general, that maybe Tamriel is not only just a potential physical or metaphysical core of the world, but also the kind of emotional core, the place where everyone goes to and wants to go to, kind of like the whole concept of the American dream in our world. And so maybe, just maybe, the concept of Tamriel is just a realization in a fantasy world about the concept of a better life for people who are just trying to rise up in the world. And maybe it means more than just what we've made it out to be. And I honestly do think that that's the case this time. With the reason, of course, being that there's just so much information out there about Tamriel, fleshing it out and its world and its people, that you can't help but notice that nothing else is nearly as well fleshed out, and that they're rather just there for flavor text, and to just generally create antagonists for the people of Tamriel to fight, or to go to Tamriel and make something of themselves. So maybe that's just what it is. And I think at this point I've really beaten the horse dead. Or at least I think I have. But nevertheless, my points still, I feel, stand. In that everything is always more connected than we think. And that maybe it's going to continue to stay that way. But that said, you guys know exactly how this goes. Now that I've finished kind of wrapping up this video and explaining to you my thoughts on this whole entire importance of Tamriel thing, you can either choose to say, hey, I don't like this video, so I'm going to leave a dislike, and please tell me why. Or you can like it, and leave a like. And if you really liked it, subscribe, because it only gets better from here. Like I've said multiple times on my newer videos, at least. That said, thanks for watching. Hope you stick around, because I make tons of different lore videos. Elder Scrolls is just a tiny drop in the ocean of my ever-expanding knowledge of different video game lore. So I hope to see you around on this channel in the future. That said, thanks for watching once again. I've said it multiple times. Never forget that it was all just Michael Kirkbride and Lauren Schick laughing behind the scenes as various people try and make lore videos on their convoluted ideas. Kuyo out.
Sealed, astrided, I chased under Azura. In the very haste, I knew this drama won't go to waste, won't go to waste, won't go to waste, won't won't go to waste. Still, I tried it, all did I chase under Asura. In the very case, I knew that this drama won't go to waste, won't go to waste, won't go to waste, won't go to waste. Still, I tried it, all did I chase under Secunda.